Government is for all of us. All of us. It is not for some of us. It is for all of us. So we must not feel and get into a situation where we feel we are disenfranchised if a regime gets to power. It is a very difficult situation that is there in this country. But we also want to warn you, it is about the people of Kenya, not about leaders. You said it in your campaigns over and over again. We have seen, for example, there is now a short list of permanent secretaries that has been put in the papers. Almost 500 names. Hiyo ni sawa. But let us not forget that list was 14,000 people. The PSC said there were 9,000. But from 9,000, you have shortlisted 500 people. Of those 500, we have noted, not you, Mr. President, lakini some of your people there. Their relatives are there in large numbers. Their family members in large numbers. In large numbers. Their cronies and KYMs there in large numbers. We have a lot of political failures ambao wanataka kuingia civil service. Wakae nje. There is enough time and enough personnel in Kenya to get those posts, even in the current civil service. Why are you going there? Unaanguka kwa siasa alafu unajaribu kuwa PS. Hapana. We must ask you and urge you, do not be held hostage by those around you in the governance of 51 million Kenyans. It starts now, and we are watching, and we are giving you all the time an election. And I hear questions about reforms. You know, every election is a growth point. This election, we have never had so many people not participate in an election. In the history of multipartyism, this is the largest number that has not participated in an election, which means something is wrong. Because democracy is participation of as many of our flock in this country as possible. And unfortunately, this was the worst participated election since multipartyism. That means we need to reform. Reform is growth point. The last regime did not believe in reforms. It had not one reform agenda tabled to parliament. In fact, any agenda they put was to draw back the reforms of the 2010 constitution. We now must be forward thinking because we are growing, we are learning, we are a country of leaps and bounds, tied to a world of 7 billion people. We must reform IEBC, we must reform our courts, we must reform our whole electoral process so that we have an election which has got an 80+ turnout of participation. We have an election where we have record number of candidates, there's nothing wrong with it. And we have an election that people do not go to the courts because they believe they are free and fair and don't need to go to courts to adjudicate. They'll believe mwananchi have decided.
We, the majority of Kenya, feels that it was not conducted in a good way, but since the case went up to High Court or Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, because we rely on our lawyers. They are the one who knows which is make a concrete evidence and which is not holding a concrete evidence. So like now, I think it is done, but the Kenyans will see in future such a thing cannot repeat itself. And if possible, reforms should be there so that everyone after any election becomes satisfied. If you are a loser, you become satisfied. If you win fairly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Always, even Western elections, you can hardly find one which is 100%. You must have some fault somewhere. But like now, in Kenya now, we have had election and our leader is elected. So what I'm appealing to Kenyans is that let us give the new government time so that we see if they can change any meaningful change so that the country pulls ahead.
Mbele kamera bwana.
Kile alikuwepo yule aliyekuwa akiitwa Yeremia, ulimtuma pale kwa
baraka yako kutoka mbinguni nitaye kupe baraka zako. Tunaomba hayo yote leo.
Afika ili ajumuike nasi katika kaburi lako takatifu.
Huyu ndugu zetu ambaye imekuja hapa siku ya leo. Sisia, ndio, tena uliosea.
Habari uko salama? Tumebarikiwa sana.